Welcome back. Today we're talking World of Warcraft Shadowlands.
Continuing our multi-part video series going over all Covenant abilities for each class and what we think is epic or a steaming pile of shit. And we're back. I'm Saf.
And I'm Tang. And this is Gaming Dads.
So you got a question for me. What is it?
So today, sorry guys, I don't have any insults, but I do have an interesting query. Would you rather wear shoes every single second for the rest of your life or never be allowed to wear shoes ever again? You're talking, you got to wear them in the shower. You got to sleep with them.
Oh, well then.
You got to fuck with them. Like,
whoa. I'm going to go with no shoes. I mean, I'm not that country, so I don't have the crazy callous feet, but I've worn combat boots before and for extended periods of time. And feet can get quite funky, and you're saying I can never take them off. So I just have to go barefoot and figure it out. You know what I mean? That's me, man. I'm going barefoot.
All right, so barefoot it is. The Southerner in you's coming out. All right. First up, we got the Death Knight ability, Swarming Mist.
Swarming Mist. Yeah, a heavy mist that surrounds you for 8 seconds, increasing your chance to dodge by 10%, deals 20% attack power, shadow damage every 1 second to enemies within 10 yards. Every time it deals damage, you get 3 runic power, up to a maximum of 15 runic power. It's a 1 rune cost, it has an instant cast, and it's a 1 minute cooldown. Seems pretty strong. What do you got? I mean, what notes you got on that?
So for notes, I've got that it's extremely strong with Frost when you're playing Breath of Sindragosa.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it last forever.
That's cool.
Blood loves it because it adds another tanking cooldown to their utility bill.
Yeah, 10% damage reduction or dodge chance is nice.
And Unholy doesn't mind because they do increased shadow damage, which is, it packs a punch.
All in all, it's looking pretty epic. Not to mention, you get the best Covenant ability, in my opinion, to teleport. You know what I mean? That's pretty sweet. And let's be honest, DKs can use all the movement assistance they can get. They are slow.
Very slow.
But moving on to Demon Hunter, the Sinful brand. You are the Demon Hunter.
So for Demon Hunter, we've got Sinful brand. Brand an enemy with the mark of the Venthyr, reducing their melee and casting speeds by 30%, and inflicting 400% of attack power as shadow damage over 8 seconds. Activating Metamorphosis, apply a Sinful brand to all nearby enemies. 30-yard range, instant cast, 1 minute cooldown.
I was watching the testers, and the dot seems to do a lot of damage, and they think it'll be nerfed a little bit because of how much damage it does. The AoE in Metamorphosis is really nice. The only thing that kind of sucks, in my opinion, is it doesn't proc with the demonic talent, which after you use your I-beam, you become, Metamorphosis for so many seconds. That'd be pretty nice, a little quality of life thing, but I mean, what do you think? Should it?
Not only should it proc on with demonic, they should buff it, not nerf it. This is the Demon Hunter. This is a new OP class. That's why there's 5 Demon Hunters minimum in every raid. So more overpowered Demon Hunters. It's a way better ability than the next one we're going to cover. It's Druid. Why don't you go ahead, buddy?
Druid. I mean, for those poor unfortunate souls that are still trying to play Druid, they get Ravenous Frenzy. For 20 seconds, the Druid spells you cast increase your damage, healing, and haste by 2% stacking. If you spend 1.5 seconds idle, which, I don't see any Druid doing, The frenzy overcomes you, consuming 3% of your health per stack, stunning you for 1 second, and then ending. So it just turns off. That kind of sucks. Instant cast, and it's 3-minute cooldown. All in all, not terrible. I mean, that seems like
I'm hearing it's not terrible, but it's definitely got a strong punishment if you pop this at the wrong moment and you have to be idle for a second or two.
Yeah.
God forbid you got a kid behind you or something like, well, you just died because you got stunned. I mean, also note this is not just an instant cast. As long as you're casting a spell, it registers. So cast
Right.
time's fine. It doesn't count as idle. And so I guess if your target dies, you can sit there and heal your allies and yourself to avoid the damage in the days.
Well, I don't know. I can't wait to see some druids die to this. But moving on to more killing. Hunters, flayed shot, fire a shot at your enemy, causing them to bleed for 250% of your attack power as shadow damage over 20 seconds. Each time flayed shot deals damage, you have a 15% chance to gain Flayer's Mark, causing your next kill shot to be usable on the target regardless of the current health. 10 focus cost, instant cast, 40-yard range, 30-second cooldown. Cooldown's good. Focus cost is good. I mean, you have a 15% chance. I mean, you may not even get a proc, but it just seems like Black Arrow of old.
Yeah, some of the notes I've got, they're definitely referring to Black Arrow of old. Seems to proc more often in Marksman.
Yeah.
At the moment, but testers claim they like the carrying ability a bit better. Carrying ability, sorry. But I mean, we went over the carrying ability. That thing's garbage. This will definitely come out on top for DPS
It's
choice.
not terrible, but it's not amazing.
Okay, either. Remember, I'm gonna show you this video when it's time to pick. All right.
It's true. I don't even know if I'm going Hunter this time. We'll see. We'll see. But you are the Mage Master. Tell us what the Mage has got to offer here.
Up next, we got the Mage. Mirrors of Torment. Conjure 3 mirrors to torment the enemy for 20 seconds. Whenever the target casts a spell or ability, a mirror is consumed to inflict 75% of spell power via shadow damage, and their movement and cast speeds are slowed by 15%. The final mirror will instead inflict 198% of spell power via shadow damage to the enemy, rooting and silencing them for 4 seconds. It costs 4% of base mana, 1.5 second cast time, 40-yard range, 1.5 minute cooldown. What are some of the notes you got on this?
Reading it, it sounds like it'd be awesome. But in reality, it does very little damage. It's very wonky to get it to work. First off, it has to be used on a caster. So if it's not a caster, it's completely worthless. And even if it is a caster, it does mediocre damage at best. I mean, I guess you could use this in PvP, but it could be dispelled. So, I mean if we're talking raids, yeah, it would work great because nobody dispels. But I don't know, man. I think the mages got shafted.
Yeah, it's looking like a dumpster fire.
Well, let's put that shit out and go on to Monk. Monk, get the Fallen Order. It opens a mirror for 24 seconds, summoning reflections of your fallen ox, crane, and tiger adepts. Every 1 to 6 seconds. Sorry, Hooked on Fox didn't work for me. I read at 3rd grade level. Fallen monks that have mastered the ox, crane, and tiger style will also attack your enemies with Breath of Fire, heal you with Enveloping Mist, and assault with Fist of Fury, and they assist for an additional 2 seconds. So after they come out, they last for 2 seconds and they disappear. So I think it's a solid 3-minute cooldown. I mean, it looks all right. What do you think?
So for some of the notes we've got, they are saying it's definitely a solid 3-minute DPS cooldown. It drops a mirror next to you. Think of it more of like a portal. And then like dudes just start streaming out. So it is pretty cool to see like an army of monks come running out to help. I mean, it's definitely a cool visual. It'll definitely make you feel cool. It's fun. The Mist Evening monks were doing Enveloping Mist and healing for a good chunk. The Brewmasters did not taunt, however. So The Windwalkers come out. They're Bruce Leeing the shit out of your enemies. Um, think of it like a monk version of Army of the Dead. All in all, not too terrible. Fun animation, and I mean, we'll have to see how it works and how the utility is.
I mean, it does look cool. I think it looks probably one of the coolest ones that we've seen so far. And I like it better than I like the last monk ability from the Carrion. But moving on to the next, in my opinion, trash dumpster fire is the Ashen Hollow from the Paladin. Hollow the target area for 30 seconds. Every 2 seconds, an enemy in the area suffers 150% spell power as shadow damage, and an ally in the area is healed for 160% of your spell power. Within the Hallowed, you may use Hammer of Wrath on any target. It costs you. It's a 1.5 second cast, 30-yard range, 4-minute cooldown. Holy crap, it's a long cooldown. But the ability itself lasts forever. I mean, what you're thinking about going Paladin, would you choose this?
Yes, and I definitely won't be going this house with Paladin.
No.
4-minute cooldown. Who wants a 4-minute cooldown? Nope. No thanks.
No way.
It's terrible in comparison to the Carrions with Divine Toll. It's basically concentration that lasts double the time. It does half the damage. So maybe for healers, when we group up, maybe a nice little small buff. But we gotta rate it again. We're gonna go with Trailer Trash Fire. It looks mediocre at best, does almost no damage. Obviously, when there's stuff under your feet, people tend to run, unless they're in raid and need to stay alive. But other than that, especially in PvP, people are gonna run. Yeah, I don't see many paladins going Venthyr. So.
Ugh. Well, best to move on then to the old priest. Please, sir, let us know about this.
Oh, it's your favorite class, priest. Mindgames. Assault an enemy's mind, dealing 200% of spell power via shadow damage, and briefly reversing their perception of reality for 5 seconds. The next damage they deal will heal their target, and the healing they do will damage their target. Reverse damage and healing generate up to 40 insanity. Restores up to 4% mana for Disc and Holy. The sanity regeneration is for Shadow. 40-yard range, 1.5 second cast, 45 second cooldown. What do you think?
Well, I think Blizz's perception of reality on this is terrible. I think it has good utility. It gives 4% mana to Holy and Disc and gives 40 insanity to Shadow. Testers, they're having issues with tanks parrying and dodging the attack, so they don't even get it. And then also, if it's put on at max range, whatever it was, if it didn't hit the priest, which if you put this on at max range, by the time it runs to you, it's falling off. So it's not like you're going to initiate with it. I don't know, man.
So once again, we would rate this a dumpster fire, yeah?
I think it has some potential, but I feel like it's assaulting my mind with making me think it has potential. I don't know. It's in my perception of reality. I think in Mythic Plus or in Torghast, when you're like pulling mass mobs and you throw it on a tank and then instead themselves, I think that would be pretty sweet. But I don't know. I don't know. I just
moving on. Your favorite class next up.
Rogue, and make it slaughter of an ability. So slaughter the target, causing 95.472%. They can just make it 95.5, whatever, of attack power as physical damage. The target's anima mixes with your lethal poison, coating your poisons for the next 5 minutes. Slaughter poison deals shadow damage over time and steals 15% of healing done to the target. Not just get healing, you're healing done to the target. This also rewards 2 combo points. It costs a whopping 50 energy, which is half of your energy. It's in melee range, instant cast, and it requires stealth. So it's going to take over your opener. This is leeching poison, but it has to be on somebody that's getting healed. I'm super disappointed in this, man. The cost is way too much. The damage is exactly the same as if you opened up with ambush, and then the dot that it leaves does the exact same amount of the poison that you're replacing, which is lethal, deadly poison. I mean, unless this target is getting healed like ridiculous, it's useless. So I guess PvP maybe, but I mean, I say it's a flaming pile of dog shit. What is your thoughts on it?
I think in arenas, maybe some 2s or 3, this would be hella good cooldown. But other than that, we're going to rate it a dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire. All right. Next we have the Shaman with Chain Harvest. My friend here has been battling a cold, so I'll take over here. Chain Harvest. Send a wave of anima at the target, which then jumps to an additional nearby targets, deals 45% spell power as shadow damage up to 5 enemies, and restores 120 spell power and health to 5 allies. For each target critically struck, the cooldown of Chain Harvest is reduced by 5 seconds. It has a 40-yard range, 2.5-second cast, 1.5-minute cooldown. But from what I understand, it does crit quite often depending on your crit. And it's pretty good for enhancement with the instant cast part. I mean, do you have any further notes on this?
Yeah, so what I'm getting from the testers for feedback is it's similar to Chi Burst and Cascade. They kind of mold and make a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Little to long, no cast time, but more simple than Vesper Totem. Better suited for enhancement. We'll have to ask our resident shaman, Ryu. He'll probably hate it as always. Who knows?
I mean, what doesn't?
I would say this is probably on par, maybe a little better if you run enhanced than Vesper Totem. I wouldn't say it's a dumpster fire, but it's not impressive either.
I think, like, if you play enhanced, I think it'd be sweet. But I don't know. Time will tell. Again, as you say over and over again, we would have to sim it and see.
Sim and see.
And the Warlocks get Impending Catastrophe. Call forth a cloud of chaotic anima that travels to the target enemy, dealing 100 spell power and shadow damage to enemies within their path. When the anima reaches the target, it explodes, inflicting either Curse of Weakness or Curse of Tongues, and dealing 261% of spell power as shadow damage over 12 seconds to nearby enemies. 4% mana cost, 40-yard range, 2-second cast, 1-minute cooldown. Not a bad cooldown. What do you think?
Some notes I got, 100% of this ability will never apply Doom. It's pretty strong for Torghast, maybe Mythic Plus. It has potential. But the fact that it removes Doom from your target, I mean, it's pretty disappointing. It does have like a built-in smart cast, so it chooses if it's better for melee or casters. I hear that's not quite working right on the beta, but obviously, hopefully they'll get that fixed.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a dumpster fire, but we're definitely not going to celebrate it or pick this, pick this house.
Solid damage. I think the animation looks cool. It kind of starts out slow and then shoots out. I think it has a lot of potential, especially in like as a cooldown to even help tanks. If you put Curse of Weakness on all the mobs they're getting attacked by, that's awesome. A lot of tanks have issues dealing with caster damage. So, I mean, if you put tongues on them, they're casting less. I think it has some potential. I think it's more utility than it is actual with some good damage to it. I like it. I don't know. I'd probably work with it. Especially if you get the teleport all over the place as their covenant ability. That's sweet.
Yeah, I mean, teleport's going to be hard to beat, especially if you can use it in raids.
All right. Last but not least.
We've got the Warrior, my favorite class, but I don't like playing it. We've got Condemn. Replaces Execute, where you condemn a foe to suffer for their sins, causing up to a buttload of attack power via shadow damage, only usable on enemies who are above 80% or below 20. The primary target is weakened, preventing some attack power and damage that they would deal to you if your foe survives. 20% of the rage is refunded. We got a 20 to 40 rage cost, an instant cast, a melee range ability with a 6-second cooldown.
So you get execute at above 80 and below 20, and it reduces the damage that you take from them. That is pretty sweet, man. Dude, Warriors are taking the cake again. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see how this is not a solid choice. When I was watching the testers, it was actually Preach. When he was doing it, he was doing Torghast, and he would literally hit them with Condemn, hit them with like a Mortal Strike, and then hit them with Condemn again, and they were dead. So it was like a 3. I mean, that's powerful.
And that's right now in the alpha. Imagine a couple tiers in with this ability to do. Because Warriors always scale way better with gear.
Right. And this is just in Torghast. I mean, they haven't been able to actually test it on a boss. I mean, right now they're saying Spear Bastion squeaks out a tad bit more in damage, but I mean, that's not on a boss fights where we got 80% for what, a whole minute, 30 seconds, at least 45 seconds in your opener too. I mean, dang.
and typically you're single target. Most boss fights are single target. So, I mean, I like the other ability. I think the other ability looks cool and has more utility. But I'd be willing to bet this is going to do more damage.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think the Warriors got the best one again, in my opinion. But there you have it. Venthyr class abilities. Thanks for hanging around, getting it vamp with these vamp boys. Get it? Hanging around like bats. Vamp boys.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, Sav. We got it. If you liked our content and want to see more, please give me a nice soft caress of that subscribe button. Give me a little tappy tap on the like. We love comments. We'd love to hear you. We try to respond to all of them. We really do.
Thanks real quick to Nitnat and is it Sins? I don't know. Correct me later. But hey, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for watching.
It's been real.
Gaming Dad out.